Today we're going to show you how to set up your KPS karaoke speakers. These passive speakers are perfect for home theater setups, huge karaoke setups both in professional or home settings, live performances, and much more. Now these speakers come in 6.5 inch, 8 inch, 10 inch, and 12 inch versions, and they're each passive 8 ohm speakers. In this video we're going to be using the 10 inch versions for the setup, but remember the setup for all of these speakers is exactly the same. So to use these speakers you're going to need an amp or a powered receiver to power them. You can also use a power amp, but remember you're going to need something like a receiver or mixer to play music through to send signal to the amp and speakers. In this case, we're going to be using our amplifier and receiver, the RPA70WBT, which also features wireless mics, making it perfect for karaoke. Now that we have our amp, we have to decide if we want to hang our speakers on our wall or mount them to a speaker stand. First, let's talk about how we can hang them on a wall. So just like you would for hanging a picture, you'll want to make 2 marks on your wall that line up with the hanging brackets on the back of your speaker. After that, you'll want to drill a screw where you've made the mark. If you are drilling into a beam like we are in this example, you don't need any anchors to hold up these speakers. However, if you are drilling straight into sheetrock, we recommend you use an anchor with your screw for extra security. Once you have your screw in the wall, you can just hook these speakers onto the screw that you've mounted on the wall. Keep in mind, if you want a super clean install, you can drill a hole into your wall to run your speaker wire out of into the speaker, but this is completely optional. So now you are ready to hang your speakers on your wall, but before you do that, you're going to want to connect it to your amplifier or receiver with some speaker wire. So to start, take your speaker wire and take one end and plug the positive red wire into the positive terminal of your amp and the negative black wire into the negative terminal on the back of your amp. Next, you can unscrew the terminals on the back of your speaker, take the other ends of your speaker wire, and plug them into your KPS speakers through the binding post here. To do that, just insert the positive red wire through this hole and then wrap it around the red terminal, and do the same for the negative wire on the negative black terminal. Once you have your wires connected to your speakers and your amp, you can go ahead and mount your speakers on your wall. Now we can also place these speakers on PA speaker stands as well. In order to do this, you will need to purchase 2 Rockville RVSSA1s if you do not already have them. So to start, you're going to want to take out the 2 screws on the bottom of the speaker with a Phillips screwdriver. Then you're going to want to place one of your RVSSA1s at the bottom of the speaker and line up these horizontal grooves with the screw holes on the speaker. Then we're going to take our 2 screws and screw them back into the speaker with the bracket attached. So now we can mount our speakers onto any 35mm PA speaker stand. And don't forget to tighten this knob on the bracket once you have your speaker on the PA stand for a secure fit. Now one thing to keep in mind is that since these speakers are 8 ohms, you can connect either 1 per channel or 2 per channel in parallel to your home audio receiver or external amplifier. Standard home audio amplifiers and receivers can accommodate impedances between 4 and 8 ohms. If you run one of these speakers per channel, you will get 8 ohms, and if you run 2 of them in parallel like shown here, you will have an impedance of 4 ohms. To run these speakers in parallel, there are a couple options you can do. So the first way is to do daisy chain parallel wiring. For this, we are going to take speaker wire and connect 1 speaker to the left channel on the amp and 1 speaker to the right channel of our amp, just by going from the positive terminals on your amp into the positive terminals of your speaker and the negative terminals on your amp into the negative terminals on your speaker for both channels with your speaker wire. Now we want to connect our next 2 speakers to the speakers we already have connected to the left and right channel of our amp. To do this, we take more speaker wire and just go from the positive terminal of speaker A into the positive terminal of speaker B and the negative terminal of speaker A into the negative terminal of speaker B. Now I have 2 speakers on my right channel, and the way I wire the speakers to each other on my left channel is exactly the same. Just take more speaker wire and go from the positive terminal of speaker A into the positive terminal of speaker B and from the negative to the negative. Now I have 2 speakers on the left and 2 speakers on my right channel. Now another way you can parallel 2 speakers on each the left and right channel of your amp is to just run individual speaker wires from each speaker to the terminals on your amp itself. So if you were connecting speaker A and speaker B to the right channel of your amp, you would just take 2 sets of speaker wire, one going from speaker A into the amp terminals and 1 wire from speaker B into the amp terminals. Do exactly the same for your left channel and you'll have the same result of paralleling your speakers to your amp. So hopefully this video showed you guys how easy it is to set up your KPS karaoke speakers, but of course if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support tech team through phone or email. We'll see you guys in the next one.